It's so dumb.
Oh, it's so dumb, it's brilliant.
No! It's just dumb.
I really wanted to love this film. I really am craving just to have a good laugh in theatres, quite contrary to the serious, gritty tone of films we are used to. But I tried so hard, but just couldn't get there to love this film. I'll tell you exactly why. Happy Patel is the kind of project that I as a film fan want Hindi cinema to produce more of. You know, the balls to the wall absurdist comedies like Delhi Belly, Kala Kandi or Blackmail. If I go further to more specifics when you actually want to create parallels with what Happy Patel does from a genre perspective, it's in the family of movies like Johnny English and The Naked Gun. Agents, crime and steadfast intervention that is needed, of course by an incompetent leading hero that often transitions into a comedy of errors. Happy Patel is precisely that. I'm somewhat on the fence when it comes to Veer Das as an actor or even as a stand-up comedian, and hey, comedy is subjective and you may lie wherever on what you feel about his style of comedy. But I remember cackling through his sets in the 2010s where he had somewhat of a potty mouth and was extremely graphic with his bits. And this is slowly transitioned to now becoming less about the comedic bits and more about statements to make a point about the state of the country today. I think I am digressing. No matter where you stand on Veer Das's comedic style, I have to say that I loved him in Delhi Belly and Go Goa Gone. The less said about the other feature film comedic appearances, the better. Happy Patel focuses on Happy, played by Veer Das, who is the adopted child of a gay British couple who are ex-agents with the British government. After having failed the exams to become an agent for the 7th time, something fishy leads him to being employed to carry out a mission in India, specifically Panjore in Goa. The mission involves rescuing a British national who seems to be in captivity, all due to the influence of Mama, Panjore's Dawn, played by Mona Singh. How Happy undergoes training to blend into Panjore, gets the help from the motley crew of on-the-ground agents, falls in love presumably in the process, and what is the conclusion in the face-off between him and Mama forms the basic premise of Happy Patel. Here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the film so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch this movie in theatres or not. I think the major crux of the movie review should be whether this is a good fun laugh in theatres or not. So let's dive deep. Silliness that lands. The film is self-aware and silly and has absolutely no intention to be deep. Remember, in this analytical video about the movie, I am not seeking for depth, I am not seeking for nuance, I am all for it being so absurd, so pointless, but still a good time. But I could only get there in spurts in this 2-hour and 1-minute ride. There are certain moments that definitely made me chuckle. The sad reality of my experience in theatres was that there is no point in this movie where I was hysterically laughing. I had instances where I appreciated the ideas, but unlike a recent comedy like Madgaon Express, where some of the performances and moments genuinely made me laugh out loud, I just could not get there in this film. Aamir Khan features in a cameo as Don Jimmy, and it's hilarious to see when he comes wounded back to his house, how his loved ones, that include his wife and children, are more concerned about dinner and the gifts than taking care of their father, who is visibly injured. There are gags that are aware about the movie and its structure. Very inventively, through practical elements around the scene, we are made aware of where the film is heading and what it is trying to do. As soon as it transitions from London to Goa, we get the cue that this film is going to turn into a Hindi film. The moment characters are speaking about their origin story, the voiceover through a radio provides us context on how the background music was intended solely for the characters to connect with their individual sob stories. The best part about the movie, however, is the training montage for Happy before he comes to India, and this is largely by watching classic Bollywood movies. He remembers iconic dialogues and assumes that they will get him out of trouble. He learns iconic poses, assuming that they will impress the opposite sex. And the most inventive sequence, I believe, is how Bollywood choreography comes in handy to him in combat sequences. Happy is a 34-year-old dimwit who is a ballet dancer and a great cook. So to see him use spices that he always has accessible in an armored fanny pack of sorts and to use it to his advantage are the elements of spies in a silly pitch that I exactly expected more of. Mithila Palkar as a dancer and having zero rhythm as she breaks into a full-on energetic piece had me laughing. I won't lie. There is a song here which I believe K. Raghavendra Rao will be proud of because it provides all varieties of fruits being thrown at characters. An attack commences and Veer stops them from attacking together because it doesn't fit the rules of Rohit Shetty's style of combat that allows only for them to attack one at a time. The problem is that these elements are fleeting, momentary and fun, yes, but they don't come together to be this hysterical experience that I envisioned. It's somewhat of a silly mess versus a silly ride I would love to revisit. Great ideas that work in vacuum versus a feature film. Consistent gags that got tiring. Happy is a fish out of the water. He doesn't fit anywhere, and the movie, specifically the writing by Veer and Amog, aim to highlight this with the language barrier that the main character struggles with. The frustrating element of the movie is that this language barrier is the consistent gag in the movie that gets extremely tiring. When Happy moves into his dilapidated building, he says, "मुझे डर लग रहा है कि किसी भी समय ये चुत मेरे पे गिर जाएगी." Happy pronounces Tom as Tom, and this has a random passerby named Tom consistently appearing through the screenplay. I get the silliness, but the point is to run the gag so often that it becomes tiring. This use of the language barrier actually reminded me of WhatsApp forward jokes or gags that we have ourselves criticized in reviews from Hindi cinema. The language barrier is not the only way the gags are designed, but another lazy trope is one of the characters played by Sharib Hashmi being hard of hearing. Essentially, what this leads to is characters cracking jokes with sexual innuendos and getting away with it because either it's lost in translation or it's misheard. Like a primary school student who reads sex for the first time in biology class and is told to specifically read the paragraph out loud of the reproductive system, making students giggle at the very point where he says the word sex. Dialogues like "tum chodu karta hai" or "hum sab chote chutiya hain" are examples of extremely lazy gags in my opinion. Veer Das and the movie's core. I have rather mixed feelings about Veer Das as an actor. There is an attempt to have this sense of sweetness at his very core in the film. That he may be a dimwit, yes, but there is something missing in his very core that he inadvertently is seeking for in this film. I think this is what Veer meant when he said that Happy Patel may be silly in its pitch, but it's meant to be a very sweet film in its core. About one's sense of identity, about what one can call his community, having lived a life as an outcast and as someone different. However, this core, this emotional anchor of the movie is very fleeting and is actually not even marginally expanded on. Veer and his connection to Panjor and its people is negligible, so we don't even understand why over a period of time he feels this indescribable connection to the land and its people. I wanted to connect with Veer's silliness in this movie, this intentional misplaced British accent, this fool who always ends up getting into trouble, but I struggle to fully invest in the pitch. This may be because of Veer's limitations as an actor, but there was always a barrier for me to fully get invested in Happy's journey and his quest to find a sense of home in this screenplay that is created with an idea of intentional randomness. Crickets and confusion. I liked some of the performances, but I quickly realized that there is little scope for the supporting cast and cameos to have a lasting impression because they are not fleshed out well or are placed randomly in the storyline that you don't really feel like hooting and cheering for them. After all the campaigns to seek for Imran Khan to return on the big screen with the hashtag #LautAoImran movement, his sequence in the movie is poorly staged and fleshed out, not really having the desired impact I was hoping for. Similarly, the characters played by Sharib Hashmi and Shruti Tavade, who aid Happy in his mission, are not really handed over funny lines or even get screen time for us to get to know them properly, for us to even feel a connection because of which they stand out. Mithila Palkar is an absolute natural on screen and even in a brief appearance fully invests into the absurd. Similar to Mona Singh, who I believe again was a character who had a lot of potential but eventually ended up becoming a stylized psychopath who loves to cook, but we never really understood why she became such a monster. Mona gets the pitch of the film perfectly on point, but the face-off doesn't really build to the ultimate climax that the tale deserved. Just because a film is different from the slate of movies that have released does not mean that I have to hand it over a badge of being unique and communicate to all of you that it's a full paisa vasool theatre experience. Movies, stand-up sets and the genre of comedy are all subjective. What can possibly make you hysterically laugh may generate crickets for me. For me personally, this was just not the funny ride I wanted it to be. It's random, momentarily fun, absurd and doesn't always land with its punchlines, making it really a mid-theatre experience for me. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about Happy Patel. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle is right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.